Today is Sunday, and it's September the 19th, 2022. My name is Jonathan Jones. It's my pleasure and privilege to be your host and moderator for the afternoon. And I just have to applaud you all for taking times out of your busy schedule. Sunday afternoons are often times where folks get to spend time with the family and take care of other things that are considered more important. So again, I just commend you all for taking the time out of your busy schedules to come here. And someone thought very highly of you to invite you to this program. And it makes me appreciative because there must be some value here. Someone thought that there may be some value in your coming to a presentation like this today. I'm not a medical doctor, don't claim to be one. And I encourage you not to do anything I say just because I say it. I'm a researcher. I provide information that I believe to be valuable because let's just face it, if you go to the internet right now and punch in any topic, I don't care what the subject is, what will come back is millions and millions of results. So now you have a challenge. Where do I start? Do I begin with the stuff that someone paid for first? Because that's usually the first thing that comes up is paid responses. Or do I begin with the person who was clever enough to be in the top 10 on the search engine responses? Most people don't get past the first two. But what if what you're really looking for is on page 10, 12, 13, 20, 100? How do you know? You can actually search forever and literally never find what it is you're looking for. So I've kind of narrowed that down in some respects because I partnered up with a team of experts, gentlemen who have expertise in what they do. And then I spend time doing the research and trying to bring enough to you so that you'll be able to make a decision. So after 35 years of research, I think I've narrowed it down to just a couple of things that really will make a significant impact in anyone's life. So for the sake of full disclosure, I am affiliated with the company Engage Global. And my affiliation with them means that I promote them. And as a result of that, I also receive financial compensation for the results that happen. That is, when someone decides that they want to go down a pathway that I recommend in some way, I get some benefit from that, just to inform you in advance. We don't often talk about that. And we will have a business meter later on for those who would like to stay and hear more about that. But today, our subject matter is all about SARS-CoV-2 and COVID-19 and the impact that micronutrients could have on that. Keep in mind that nothing that I'm saying has been evaluated by the FDA. And when we talk about testimonials and results that people may get, they're purely anecdotal. What happens to one person may or may not happen to you. So, but before we start, I'd like to ask, we have 57 connections on right now. Has anyone come down with SARS-CoV-2, COVID-19, somewhere in the past 2 or 3 years and felt like they got some benefit from Micro Daily or any other products that Engage Global provides? Out of the 57 people that are on here, we've heard a lot of stories of individuals, but is anyone on here right now that would like to share their story, their personal story? Stab in the dark here. Delores has a personal story. Go ahead, Delores. Let's hear your story.
Well, Jonathan, my husband and I both were affected with COVID-19 when it first rose here in Albany, Georgia. At that time, they were not saying it was COVID. They were telling everybody they had upper respiratory infections. So I got exposed to by someone that I visited in the hospital. I came home. I started feeling terrible, chills, fever, no energy. So I knew it was, I had something because normally I don't get colds, I don't get flu, I just don't get sick. But I got sick, and the next day or two, my husband began to have those same symptoms. So what we did, we loaded up on the hydro. I took hydro we must have we took a box in a few days. Between the two of us, we kept doing the hydro, but we didn't have to go to I didn't go to the hospital, to the emergency room, anything like that. We stayed home, we stayed in the bed, got up when we had to, drank a lot of warm liquids, but the hydro, I was already taking microdeli, but we just loaded up on the hydro at that time. And I also lost my taste and my smell. That's when I knew that I actually had COVID-19. But we did fine staying home and doing that, and we both recovered without having to go and get any kind of medical attention. So I know it was the Engage Global product, the hydro, that really pulled us through, with the COVID-19.
And sometime later, we would find out that you actually were in the high risk group because of your age, right?
Right. And my husband have underlying health issues. I don't have any underlying health issues, but I'm older. But he's older than I am, and he had a couple of serious conditions.
Okay. So you were in the high risk age group. Both of you were in the high risk age group, and your husband had comorbidities. See, we didn't understand any of this until about a year later that all of these factors come into place. And at that time, it wasn't even called COVID-19.
Right. That's right.
It hadn't even been revealed yet. So, okay. And then if I remember correctly, there was a major outbreak of COVID-19 in Albany, Georgia, not long after that.
Oh, well, we came right when I first got COVID. That was the beginning, really, with those two incidents here in Albany, Georgia, where, I mean, so many people were exposed, so many people died from COVID-19. We had a lot of deaths here in Albany from the COVID-19.
Okay. Thank you very much for sharing your story, Delores.
You're welcome.
And we're glad that you made it through. We're glad that worked for you.
So are we.
Yeah. And fortunately, we had access to that because there were no other options back at that time. And just keep in mind, folks, that was the beginning of it. That's not the Omicron variant or any other variant. That was the beginning of it. And as you know, eventually hundreds of thousands, in fact, I think millions of people eventually died from their exposure to that. But at the exact same time, well, not long after that, it was Dr. Prasad who also began to do some research because he felt that something needed to be done because people were dying at an alarming rate. And I think anybody who was around back then knows that. And about what month was this published? There's a date on here, July the 3rd, 2020. So it was around that time that, it was hopeless. No one knew what to do. I think we were still on lockdown. Most countries were still under lockdown conditions. But Dr. Prasad, being the brilliant man that he is, decided that he needs to do some research to determine would something that he's already formulated potentially have an impact. Keep in mind, folks, please understand, we're not claiming that microdaily or anything else is a treatment or cure for any disease. And we're not claiming that microdaily will cure COVID-19. That's not our claim at all. I'm sharing with you research. That's it. Okay, so here's the published article. This is not just Dr. Prasad doodling. This was a published article. Okay, the title of it is Supplementation with a Mixture of Micronutrients May Improve Ability of the Immune System to fight COVID-19 infection. Now, why would anybody even go down that pathway of thinking that the immune system has the ability to fight something that was virally infectious and as deadly as COVID-19? The reason is pretty obvious. I've tried to say this before. Your immune system is your most powerful asset. The immune system is so powerful, it can kill you. Turn it in your favor, turn it against an antagonist, and it's your strongest asset. So think of your immune system as your strongest asset. That's how the pharmaceutical companies think of it. In fact, that's the premise of a vaccine, folks. The premise of a vaccine is to educate the immune system so it can take care of the infectious agent. That's the whole purpose of it. Dr. Prasad said, could a mixture of micronutrients improve the immune system's ability to fight not just any infection? He put it in writing, COVID-19. That's what he said. So let's take a look at his paper. There's a lot of science in here, so we're not going to dive into the pile of science there. Hold on, let me see if I can find the right document. I had one here that was a little bit easier for me to point out a couple of things. Okay, here's a couple of the high points. Just a few of the high points is all we're going to talk about, because we just don't have time to go into all of it. And quite frankly, I do not understand all the science here. Okay, so I'm going to share with you the parts of it that I understand. First sentence: impaired immune function may increase the risk of infection of pathogenic microbes. Therefore, improving immune function may reduce the risk of such infections. That's how Dr. Prasad starts out. And notice now, look at the first two words: impaired immune function. So in other words, if we start out with a weak immune system, the risk is higher. The risk of infection is higher if the immune system is impaired. So he begins to discuss how COVID-19 works. He says here it has a high binding affinity with the host ACE2 receptors. Now there's ACE2 receptors all throughout our throat area, and especially in the lungs. There's ACE2 receptors everywhere. Impaired immune function, this is what's highlighted in the blue. In older people, an individual with pre-existing diseases may account for increased vulnerability to this infection. Delores and her husband, okay, they didn't necessarily have impaired immune function. It was impaired enough because they were up in age. And this is what I've been talking about in the past. Once we get a certain number of miles on us, our immune system, by definition, starts to go down. We need a little more to make sure that our immune system remains optimal. So Delores and her husband were already taking microdaily at the time, but probably the same dose that most of us thought we could get by with, which is the average dose for a healthy 20 or 30-year-old. So that's about what they were taking. Delores, is that correct? Prior to your getting the infection, could you just tell us how much microdaily were you taking before you got infected? Still there, Delores? We'll come back to Delores with that question, okay? But I can just say from my personal conversations with her, they were taking about maybe one pack of hydro twice a day, and maybe an extra dose. So they were in maybe the 2+ category, standard dose with just one extra dose.
I'm here, Jonathan.
Oh, you're there. Can you tell us how much microdaily were you taking, Delores, before you got infected?
We were taking probably because about 3 to 4, about 3 capsules twice a day.
Okay, so that's right. So see, that's what I'm saying. That's the regular dose plus. That's the standard dose plus. So she was taking the one extra. But being in a certain age category, because we need a little bit more. So she got infected. But look what it took for her to fight the problem, to get rid of it. So she went really strong. She went full hard, heavy dose of the hydro to get past it. But that's what happens. And by the way, again, microdaily won't stop you from getting infected. It does not stop a person from getting infected. So that's the reason why someone could get it even though they had been taking it. It's all about the level of the immune system, because the immune system can be weaker or stronger. And that's what Dr. Prasad goes on to talk about here in his document. We'll even ask him about this next week when we have him on the program. But he says here, high levels of oxidative stress and inflammation in these people contribute to impaired immune function. So immune system a little bit low, plus high levels of oxidative stress and free radicals and inflammation can contribute to the immune system being a little bit weaker. Then he goes on and makes another statement here. Following binding with the ACE2 receptors and fusion with the host cell membrane, the virus is engulfed inside the cell and starts replication. Okay, virus comes along, finds an ACE2 receptor, locks into the ACE2 receptor, penetrates into the cell. Once it penetrates and enters the cell, it's the spike protein that locks to the ACE2 receptor, causes the penetration. Once it's inside the cell, it replicates. When you start feeling a sore throat, that's because inflammation, that's penetration. That's a spike protein that has penetrated into a cell, causing inflammation. The inflammation is the replication of the virus inside your cells. It takes your DNA and starts making more of the cells. That's when you feel the hoarseness, the sore throat. So if you can do something early on to prevent that, that's good. By the way, coconut oil is one of the things that stops it from binding to the ACE2 receptors in the throat. So people who were taking coconut oil reduce the chances of the binding. And if it doesn't bind and make its way into the lungs, it would make its way down to the digestive system. May cause a little bit of gastrointestinal issues, but it wouldn't stay long enough and pass right out as waste. It would eventually just die and go out. So that's the best case scenario. The worst case scenario is when it was able to bind to ACE2 receptors in the lungs. That's when it became a problem. But one last statement here in this abstract introduction. The last highlighted area, can you see it here? Improving immune function remains one of the best options for them to eliminate this infection. Okay? There was no vaccine at the time. And Dr. Prasad said improving immune function remains one of the best options for them at the time. We were all excited to hear that. So we kind of moved forward with our thinking. I'm just scrolling down through the article now. There's a lot here that we will not talk about. I mean, he goes on to describe how the virus enters into the host cell. What I just described to you about binding to the ACE2 receptors, penetrating and going into the cell, that's what Dr. Prasad describes in the article. But now, he goes on to describe in here the different ways that micronutrients would affect the immune system. He breaks it down. He talks about the innate immune response. Innate immune response is what your immune system does all by itself, just innate. It's something that's a part of you. It does it without thought. The immune system wants to do something. It wants to attack anything. So whatever it's automatically designed to do, that's the natural response. You got T cells, you got all kinds of other aspects of the immune system that wants to respond. That's the innate immune system response. That needs to be strong, because once the body identifies something that's not supposed to be there, see what he says? It releases cytokines. That's a big deal. That's a big deal. It releases cytokines because what they found is that it's the release of those cytokines, and Dr. Prasad has said this on our Sunday program a couple times. It's the release of the cytokines into the bloodstream that also triggers certain responses in the brain. And they found that the elevated levels of cytokines contributes to brain fog and other problems. We'll ask Dr. Prasad about this next week. We'll get some more clarity on it. But the innate immune system, that's how it naturally responds. Think of it this way. Think of it as a high school. You're in a high school, any school, and then all of a sudden someone comes in and sets off a metal detector and they've got a backpack on and they don't belong there. Someone pulls the alarm. Someone dials 911. Turns out the person was just a substitute teacher. They came on a motorcycle that day. They forgot that they had a crowbar in their backpack and they walked through the metal detector. It was not an AR-15, but the alarm has now been sounded. Not only does the alarm not stop sounding, it goes to the police. Then the police calls the SWAT. Then SWAT calls the National Guard. Then the National Guard calls the president. The president starts punching in the nuclear launch codes. Calm down, folks. It was just a substitute teacher that forgot to take a crowbar out of the backpack. The alarm needs to go down. In cases of COVID-19, especially when there's an impaired immune system, when the immune system is not working properly, the cytokines is like the alarm mechanism. If it never shuts off, that leads to cytokine storm. That's an overreaction of the cytokine system. And once that happens, it's toxic and deadly. Toxic and deadly. That's a real problem there. And the way that micronutrients work is that it it now is able to respond with monocytes, natural killer cells, and everything else. So instead of there being no response, what's needed responds, handles the situation, and it calms down, and everything is fine. It just tones itself right down. Micronutrients also affect the adaptive immune response. Adaptive immune response is identify something. You're not supposed to be here. Let's go make some antigens for this. They finds out that you've got some level of defense that it's not prepared for. We've never seen this spike protein before. We've never seen this. So let's go make some antibodies for this and then come back and take care of it. That's what the adaptive immune system is. So it's never seen it before, but it adapts to the situation. That's what a vaccine does, by the way. A vaccine is triggering the adaptive immune system, exposing the body to something, then the immune system adapts to that and then presents an elevated response for it. That's what that's all about. Dr. Prasad comments on that. He goes on to comment on these lymphocytes, T lymphocytes, and by the way, it's only a killer T cell. A killer T cell is the only thing that can brush up against a cell that has a lot of viruses in it and trigger apoptosis and destroy everything in it, including the cell. Only a killer T cell can do that. That's why you must have a robust immune system to deal with a virus that hides itself inside one of your own cells. So before we pause on this, and I'm just want to expose you to some parts of this. Dr. Prasad here has a paragraph, how to improve immune function by micronutrients. Read the highlighted sentence. Attenuation of oxidative stress and chronic inflammation at the same time. Attenuation of oxidative stress and chronic inflammation at the same time may improve immune function. Since antioxidants are known to reduce oxidative damage and persistent inflammation, the effects of individual antioxidants and other micronutrients on immune functions were elevated. That's what he did as far as part of the study is concerned. Massive amounts of antioxidants and elevating the body's natural response, including glutathione levels. So he goes on to list all of the different antioxidants that he introduces into the body with this micronutrient cocktail that he produces. And then we get down to where he draws certain conclusions. We'll get Dr. Prasad to comment on this next week. But that last sentence, last two sentences right here is potent. I'd like to blow it up to make it a little bigger, but I'm afraid my computer might lock up. So I'm just going to read it. Because of limitations of effectiveness of a single micronutrient in humans, a hypothesis is proposed that a mixture of micronutrients may be more effective than a single micronutrient in improving immune function by reducing oxidative stress and inflammation and thereby eliminating COVID-19 infection. Let me grab my microphone and just drop it. No, it's too expensive. I won't drop the microphone. But that to me was a Dr. Prasad drop the microphone statement right there. This mixture of micronutrients may also reduce the risk of developing adverse health effects among survivors of COVID-19 infections. You know what that is? That's called long COVID. Dr. Prasad wrote about a way to ameliorate long COVID before long COVID was even talked about. What else can we ask Dr. Prasad about next week? I knew you were going to ask that question. I just knew you were going to ask that question. So I was ready for that. I'm ready for that. So let's see if we can ask Dr. Prasad about this. This is in the National Library of Medicine, PubMed. This is the official repository of all published medical documents by the United States government. Didn't hear about this one on CNN. Didn't hear about this one on any news station. Nobody talked about this one. And to me, it's mind-boggling and almost criminal that no one has talked about this one, because this is incredible to me. I don't claim to understand all the science of it, but I can understand a couple things that I think everybody needs to know a little something about. right here, right now. Let me see if I can't. No, let's just leave it alone. I'm not going to mark anything. I just want you to just pay attention to a couple of things. The title of the article, the function of SARS-CoV-2 spike protein is impaired by disulfide bond disruption and mutation. Ignore the next sentence. But N-acetylcysteine and glutathione is in the same sentence. You're getting that. The function of SARS-CoV-2 spike protein is impaired. And if you skip all the other stuff in between that you don't understand, by N-acetylcysteine and glutathione. And the article goes on to explain that. It goes on to describe it. Under abstract, it's hard to make it out because, again, there's a lot of sciencey gobbledygook in between there that makes it very confusing and hard to pick up. But in the abstract, that's all it's talking about, is this viral spike protein. Now, just think for 1 second. It's not just talking about a spike protein on the virus itself. It's talking about a spike protein no matter where it came from. Just think about that. A spike protein, no matter where it came from. It actually says, I can't mark on this page. But look, see over here to the right. Let me see if I can get my mouse on here. Can you see the mouse? No, okay, the mouse isn't moving around. But here, can you see my pointer here? Let me see if I can highlight a part of it. If I tap on the screen, maybe I can highlight a part of it. About 2/3 of the way down in the paragraph, you see the word N-acetylcysteine? I'm not sure if you can make that out. It's close to where it says cited by. N-acetylcysteine, reduced form of glutathione. We demonstrated that the activity of variant spikes from SARS-CoV-2, alpha and beta strains, were also suppressed by NAC and GSH, which is glutathione. Are you getting that, folks? I hope so. Because that's saying that N-acetylcysteine and glutathione disrupts the spike protein, binds to the spike proteins, and eliminates the spike protein as waste. N-acetylcysteine and glutathione. Now, what's the significance of that? It's a major big deal, is what that is. It's a major big deal. Because guess what? Wild guess. Any wild guesses? Wild guess. Yeah, here's a wild guess. I'll show you one wild guess. Let's look at the science brochure for a wild guess. And I'm only going to go to one page in here if I can get this to work right. One page. That's Dr. Prasad, by the way.
I have it.
Brilliant man right here. And keep in mind, that paper, that medical paper that was written was about at least 6 months before the first vaccine came to market. Okay? And what happened to Delores and her husband was a year before the first vaccine came to market. But have a look at what's inside microdaily. Can you see it on the left side of the page there? Almost down toward the bottom, N-acetylcysteine. The one above it, alpha lipoic acid and CoQ10, all help to raise glutathione levels in the body. Okay? So that's it. That's all I'm going to say about that. So Dr. Prasad's paper indicates that the right mixture of micronutrients can be very disruptive to what any virus wants to do in the body. A virus in the body wants to create something called cytokine storm. It wants to replicate and it wants to get out of control. An impaired immune system creates the problem. If your cytokines in your blood system is out of control, it can cause neurological problems and other issues for the body. Micronutrients, such as the one found in microdaily, is the combination. That's what's been produced by Dr. Prasad And that's what's been helping a lot of folks deal with viral infectious agents. So to make a very long story short, just get back with the person who invited you to this discussion, and they can help you get access to the only military grade micronutrient in the world, and that's Microdaily. If you're curious about the hydro that Delores and her husband took, that's also made by the same company. And you have access to all of those products, but the person who invited you here can help you with that. Now, I did see another hand raised that I had a story with COVID-19 at the very beginning. So Nick, are you still on the call? Do you want to tell us your story? What happened to you?
Well, basically happened almost 2 years after COVID had actually came out. I did pretty good for defending myself against it, wearing masks and keeping my distance, making sure everything was right. Then my wife ended up taking my mother-in-law to the hospital. She was feeling ill and she wasn't able to shake it. Well, she accidentally ate something at my mom's house, just taking a piece of fruit. And she also went into the emergency room just to get the paperwork filled out. Well, not even a day after that, she started coming down with all kinds of symptoms. And I'm like, what in the world? And then it come to find out, she went and tested. She had COVID. I also ended up getting COVID and started feeling bad 2 days after that. I have diabetes. I'm a large fellow, meaning that I'm overweight. I had everything that was going to be against me to survive this. But we survived it after, I think it was 2 weeks for her, 3 weeks for myself, but it was the worst thing you ever wanted to go through, the worst thing. And there was no solution, no medicine that I could take that was going to help me. But that's just a story. I didn't even know about this product at the time. I didn't even know anything about the spike proteins and all the things that you referenced to. But it started becoming very apparent because someone explained it to me. And I'm like, there should have been a solution before this even happened.
Yeah, very sorry that you went through that. Did you, were you vaccinated?
No, I wasn't vaccinated. I was worried about the vaccination because I'm like, it takes time to prove if something actually works. So I was quite afraid of the vaccination. And, but I did know that if I was to catch it, that was going to be the fullest vaccination I possibly ever could get, because that's all vaccination is. It's just giving you enough of it so that your body can identify it and attack it.
So somehow you managed to survive it. And how long ago was this, you said?
This was about a 1 year. My wife tells me 1 year after it all started.
So that's around the time of the Delta variant.
Correct. Yeah, it was. Yeah, that's right. It was two variants at the time, and we didn't catch Omicron. We caught the first one.
The one before that. Yeah, it was, I think Delta was around that time. You're very fortunate. You're both very fortunate, and glad to hear that you survived it. So that's a strong testament for your ability to beat the thing, because they were saying that the Delta was more deadly than any of them. The Omicron was supposed to be less deadly, which is good, more virulent, but less deadly. So, but thank you, Nick, for sharing your story. Angelique has a question or comment.
I just want to say something. This is interesting because I know Nicholas, he does not remember, but I had talked to him about it, but he didn't make the connection. And I had even sent him samples. But this goes to show, just don't give up on people that you want to help, because now he's here. He's taking it now.
That's right. And he understands. He understands the value now more than he ever did. No doubt. Very good. So thank you very much, Angelique. So listen, folks, next week we're going to be talking about this with Dr. Prasad. And so take a screenshot of this if you're able to see it. This is an invitation, and you're going to want to invite anybody that you care about to this discussion, because we want to hear what Dr. Prasad has to say about long COVID. There are issues that are taking place right now, and that hopefully we'll be able to take a little bit of a stroll into some of those areas. Folks are dealing with central nervous system issues. Folks are dealing with brain fog. And there was just a new report that just came out, in the Lancet, where they're talking about lessons learned from COVID. And they're concluding, one doctor put it this way, they believe that there will be mass disability, basically, as a result of it, because a high percentage of people with long COVID are not recovering from it. And they think it may end up being something that's chronic for an extended period of time. So it'll be interesting to hear what Dr. Prasad has to say about that. So that's next Sunday, the 25th at 5 p.m. Same Zoom information, same password to get onto. So next Sunday, 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, we'll be talking to Dr. Prasad about that. So that's going to be an even more interesting discussion, because we get to hear from the scientist himself, the man who wrote the paper about micronutrients and its impact on disrupting what SARS-CoV-2 would like to do. Okay, so any questions about what we discussed thus far? Anyone would like to share another comment? So we'll take a few questions in a few minutes that we have left. There's no such thing as a stupid question, folks. The only stupid question is the unasked question. We also have Jeff Ashby here, the company's only ambassador level affiliate in the company is here with us too. So Catherine Robinson has a question or comment.
I know, he recommends highly that you take the micro daily with food. What about someone that's actually in the hospital? They have ordered the product, but now the doctor, they had recently had a third surgery. They're a very sick person, and the mother wanted to use the product, but they're not taking anything by mouth. The only thing they're having is ice chips and so forth. So what would you do in a situation like that?
What's the health issue? So they can't take anything orally.
I gave you information past, have a history of leukemia, but was been treated over a number of years. The one I mentioned to you.
Okay.
So forth, and got the other things. And
But now they can't take anything orally.
No. And the mother was going to do it by tube herself, because she is a nurse as well. And I was concerned because she said she's not taking, nothing but ice chips.
What usually you can do is that the doctors usually are not against nutrients.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes they'll even put an IV bag of nutrients, certain vitamins into the person.
Mm-hmm.
What she could do is say, first of all, just ask for nutrients. I'd like to have some vitamins given to my son or daughter or whatever. Mm-hmm. Once the doctor agrees to that, then say, but I'd like him to get these nutrients, these vitamins. This one in particular. I know that yours is probably very good, but this is the one that his body is accustomed to. And then ask for that.
Okay.
That may be the only way. And then they could put it right in with the Ensure or whatever they're feeding him. They could just add it right into it.
Okay. Thank you.
That would be probably the best option to do it. And what I did once was when I had my brother-in-law was in the hospital and the doctors had decided that they gave up on him. I said, well, since you've given up, could you just humor us and give my brother-in-law N-acetylcysteine? And they said, we don't have any natural thing like that. I said, well, yes, you do. If someone came in with an alcohol and acetaminophen overdose, Tylenol overdose, you would give him something. Just humor us, please, and just give my brother-in-law that treatment. And they could not. His hair started growing back. The guy came back to life. His whole cognition returned, and they would not give him a second dose. I couldn't believe it. Why they wouldn't just give the man a second dose was just beyond me. But it bought him some time, and he lived another month or so after that, once they agreed to do that. But the cancer was pretty bad for him, unfortunately. So in time, that's another way of getting something into a person. Delores, you had another comment there, question?
I had a comment, Jonathan, in reference to our immune system, because I've been taking stuff to optimize my immune system for the last probably about 25 years. So even despite that, I still came in direct contact with COVID and caught it. So it's very important that we keep our immune system optimized, because if I had not been taking care of my immune system, more than likely I would end up in the hospital, maybe even worse than that. So optimizing the immune system is so important. And so hydro just came in and just helped out what I was already doing.
Yes, absolutely. That is a 100% true statement. When you take elevated doses of micronutrients, it takes the immune system to yet a whole nother level. I mean, it puts on the afterburners. So I think it's a very good chance that this would have been a totally different discussion had you not been working on your immune system prior to that. So thank you very much for that. Anna Colbert has a question or comment.
Yes, my question is, the person who was speaking of the ice chips, is it possible to freeze the hydro and it still be ice chip, or to just sprinkle that on the ice chip? Is it possible to do that?
That's what I would do.
It's possible. I'm going to mention all those things to try to encourage the mother, because you know how the doctors can be, and when you're trying to deal with that. That's what I've been trying to do. I got up to the point of doing some other things that we decided to do. So
Yeah, and I wanted to come in on the Market Daily too, because I wasn't quite a believer, but I've been listening, and so I'm pretty sensitive, so I am able to take one per day. And I love to look at the veins, because when I see all the veins on my arm, and when they are just like a branch, and then when the skin feels silkier, and if you get a little agitated, even I'm just taking one a day because I eat a healthy diet, and it's really working for me. So I'm glad I can get something that I can take, and it really works for me.
Excellent. Excellent. Thank you very much for giving us your feedback on that. It's amazing that you're only able to get one in per day. Try to get up to a second dose if you can. Some 12 hours later, your body will start to benefit from it if you can get a second dose in. Some people are very hypersensitive to things.
Yeah, I tried that at first, but the one works perfect. The two for now is not for me. It's maybe when I get a little older, maybe when I get 70, it might work.
It might work for you. I got you. Okay, very good. Well, thank you for your feedback. Had a question from in the chat about the coconut oil. That's a natural thing that folks did, especially back in the very beginning. There were some doctors who had commented that coconut oil helped to prevent these spike proteins from binding to the ACE2 receptors in the throat. So if you take just a tablespoon per day, and coconut oil has tremendous benefits all the way around. Just take it, a couple times a day. If you know that you've been exposed or around someone, you want to help that slide its way right on down into your gut and not into the lungs. So the coconut oil helped with that, helped to dislodge it and helped it to not bind to the spike protein, to the ACE2 receptors in the throat. Now, staying on good, healthy dosages of microdaily is a big deal, because again, that's reducing oxidative stress, and also it's attaching itself to the spikes. Now, these spikes could have come from anywhere, not just from the vaccine. Any existence of spikes in the body, N-acetylcysteine and glutathione is binding to it. Okay, so just that's the other thing to keep in mind. So what we have access to is something that is truly remarkable, and there are some folks who still to this day swear by it. What's been happening with them, and testimonials are also telling a very, very strong story about it. Okay, any additional question? We got time for maybe one more before we wrap up.
Yeah,
There's
this
one
is
in the chat.
Bertha Montgomery.
Bertha, go ahead, Bertha.
I'm allergic to coconut oil. Is there another oil?
I would just stick with microdaily. That was just an extra little side thing for people. Stick with microdaily and you're doing pretty good. You don't necessarily even need to go to the coconut oil.
Okay, great. And thank you for Great job. I've enjoyed the presentation as always.
Well, thank you. Thank you very much. Appreciate your feedback. Another
You're-
question in the chat, severe migraines. Severe migraines. So migraines is a very difficult thing. There are some things that act as vascular dilators. If you can get yourself a good vascular dilator, that helps with the migraines. Drinking more water has helped with the migraines. There used to be a product on the market made by a company named Immunotech. They used to have a product called Extra Sharp that was taking care of major migraine issues for some people, folks who had serious issues. One of the things in the product was some vascular dilators. I don't remember exactly what the components were, but they help. So search for vascular dilators and guarana. Guarana is the safer form of caffeine that could be of some benefit with that. Okay. And there's a comment there that says cut down on caffeine products. Yeah, so especially the pure caffeine, but the guarana is a slow burn, and that's what I think was the difference for some people. And caffeine itself dehydrates the body, so increased water also helps. But I can't think of any other things that help with migraines. Jeff, have you had any experiences with anyone getting benefits with migraines? Oh, Jeff may have had to go on to his other presentation. So we lost that. So let's raise that question again, though. Was that Sonia? I think they raised that question. Let's raise that question again and see if we can't get some research done on that, okay, as well. All right, folks. So listen, that's the end of the normal presentation for the health conference. I wanted to make sure that you have that, and it was all designed to set up for our discussion for next week with Dr. Prasad. So we'll have the formulator for the product next week, and we'll be able to talk to him about his research and everything that he's been able to find about how the immune system can deal with a viral infectious agent. For any of you who are interested in the business associated with the company Engage Global, stick around for a few minutes. I have something special I'd like to show you, something that may help you in being able to see a path forward in building your business. So that's it. Once again, it's my pleasure and my privilege to be your host and moderator for today. My name is Jonathan Jones. Please, folks, don't do anything I say because I say it. I'm just a researcher. I strongly recommend that you seek the competent medical advice of professionals that you trust. Testimonials are purely anecdotal. I'm just a nobody. Thank you all very much for joining us. Have yourself a good night.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, John.
Thank you, Jonathan. Good information.
Thank you very much, Jonathan.
Thank you,
We
Jonathan.
look forward to next week.
Thank you,
Look forward to next
Jonathan.
week. Have
Next
Thank
week is a
you.
big deal.
Get Dr. Prasad here.
Tuesday night, we're doing a follow-up on this Tuesday night at 7 o'clock. So we have presentations Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Sundays. So that 765 is the time. 7 o'clock on Tuesdays, 6 o'clock on Thursdays, 5 o'clock on Sundays. 765.
Is it 7:30 instead of 7?
7 o'clock. We moved it up to 7 o'clock.
Oh, okay.
Is there a business meeting?
There's going to be a business meeting here in just a couple moments. Yes.
Okay.
All right. Let's see here. 1 second, folks. Now, what we can say as far as the business of Engage Global is concerned is a couple of things. Couple things that I'd like to just discuss with you as far as the business is concerned. Hang on 1 second here. I'm looking to make sure I've got the right document that I want you to see. When it comes to a business opportunity, because many folks really, that's the question that needs to be raised is there a business opportunity associated with Engage Global and specifically with MicroDaily? I can say my outright answer to that question is absolutely yes. but what are the facts? The facts are you have to have you got to be almost in the right place at the right time. And we fortunately are currently in the right place, and it's the right time. There are a few individuals on here. I'd like to ask a couple of you to just share your story as to what you're experiencing right now in your first month or two in the business. And this is just some reality, just a little bit of reality as to what you're experiencing right now in your first month or two in the business. So let's nobody's jumping out their skin. So let's start with Bernard, since you can tell your story and just help us to understand why you think Engage Global is an opportunity. Just go ahead.
First of all, I want to congratulate the 50 people that stayed on here, because this is the right product, the right company, the right comp plan. The question is it the right time in your life? And I think, Jonathan, you hit the nail on the head. Jonathan had tried to introduce me to this micro daily for about 6 months. And personally, I'm inundated with people that call me all the time with opportunities. So, but I was open to something. I just didn't know what it was. And for those of you that aren't here, most of you, if I were to ask you, how many people have ever called you with opportunity? You probably wave two hands, because people call you every other week. People that don't talk to you at all, they call you when they think you have an opportunity. And most times what we think, they're just trying to make money off of us. The one thing I've noticed about Jonathan, I've known him since the early 80s, is that Jonathan has always concentrated on helping people. And he had massive success in past programs, and I've had some good success in programs. So what happens after 6 months, one day, and I'll never forget this, he was talking to me about the product, and I was just sitting down, just wanted to read. I've gotten away from television because I don't like to see other people living their dreams. And I want to get on a plane. I want to go lay on the beach. I don't want to sit up and see lifestyles of the rich and famous. And I'm sitting at home drinking Kool-Aid, and they sitting on the beach having them a nice whatever their famous drink or whatever. So I said, you know what? Let me take a look at this and see whether there's a real opportunity. Well, I ordered the product, and I started taking the product. And I have to tell you, I'm close to 70 years old. And I figured, I said, on the back end of life, I want to have a quality life and feel good. I don't care how much money you have. At the end of the day, if you don't feel good, it means nothing. I see people lay down all the time with pain and all that have all this money and no quality of life. Well, I decided to try it. And I noticed that I began to run. Well, I kind of walk fast every other day, 3 miles. And then I go to LA Fitness, and my energy increased, my clarity increased. And all of a sudden I said, there's something special about this product. So what I did, I went and did research on Dr. Prasad. Now, those of you that are on here, you have to understand something. Most of us have been in programs that we could not validate the product. People tell us how good it is, and they always say, they did this and they did that, but nobody can tell me who they is. So I go to the internet, I'm looking around to see who are these people that created this product that I'm paying all this money for. And I feel the same way for the last 2 or 3 years taking these products. Well, in a matter of a week and a half, clarity, it's just like a veil taken off my eyes. And all of a sudden I start feeling good. I'm getting up in the morning, and I noticed my product was disappearing pretty quick. And then I look around, my wife walking with me, and she said, oh, those micro daily products are really good. I said, that's what's been happening in my product. And all of a sudden, next thing I know, my wife and I are actually in harmony with the product that we love. Then I heard from the owner, which was David Nemelka. Then I met Dr. Prasad on here. Then I started reading about his accolades, and it was absolutely crazy. And I started trying it on my friends. I said, you know what? Let me see whether it's really working on my friends. I started sending these products all over the place. Everybody called me up and they said, where did you find these products? All of a sudden, I knew that I had come across the right company, the right product, and it was the right time because I was looking for something. Now, I can say that because I was a firefighter for 25 years. I'm a paramedic over 25 years, but I don't advocate drugs, because even though you may feel good for a moment, your kidneys and liver are being devastated with drugs. So as a result, my friends started calling me. One person called me and said, "Hey, Bernard, is there Holy Spirit in these products?" I said, "What?" He said, "Holy Spirit." He said, "Man, I ain't never took products and felt this good." And then I had one person where his feet went down to normal, and it was crazy. So as a result, I said, well, let me take up this business. That was 8 weeks ago. I need y'all to hear me on this. That was 8 weeks ago. Then next thing you know, I wasn't paying attention to money. I was just looking at how good I make people feel. And I said, man, these products are incredible. Then I saw how Dr. Prasad was there. I saw his 30 books. I started reading about the scientific evidence. I started reading about the 1981, the vitamin C substance, how he was finding that. Then I saw this man come on with his little humble self. He said, my life product, my life vision is to make sure these micronutrients that was available to only military be actually out to the public. People are sharing it. And I promise you, next thing I knew, people were buying product. I became an affiliate. I'll let John tell you about what it takes for that. But next thing I knew, I became an H1, Health Advocate 1. Then next thing I know, I'm looking in my back office one day, it was Health Advocate 2. This month, I've become a Health Advocate 3. Now, people may say, well, what's that Health Advocate? Let's just put it, it's more money than the month. See, before I had these products, I was having more month than the money. Y'all know what that feel like, come at the end of the month and you're trying to rob from Peter to pay Paul, but Peter keep coming back from you. That's what happens when it comes to this. So these products, the opportunity, the payout, my wife, by the way, not only followed me with the products, but I looked around with my wife. She's only been in the business for 6 weeks and she's promoting her business. My wife became a Health Advocate 2 this month. Already. So she's hot on my tail. I got a great team. It's not us that's doing it, it's the team. And I'm gonna tell you something. Don't do this by yourself. We're in business for ourselves, but not by ourselves. And I want to thank my team that have been incredible, and we're helping everybody to make it to the top, because surely it is crowded on the bottom. Back to you, Jonathan.
That's exactly right, Bernard. And thank you very much for sharing your story. And that's just a little snapshot. And the only reason you hear it that way from Bernard is not because he just happens to be excited. There's others who are excited just as he is, and they're experiencing it. You know, Delores told us about her running with COVID. What she didn't tell you is that she's maxed out the customer compensation plan. So she's already reached the Diamond 30 level with the customer thing. So, and that's just to kind of give you an idea of what happens here. There's 2 major ways that you get paid with this company. You get paid by just getting customers, just sharing the product. So, and that's what I'm going to show you just real quick is a commission calculator that I've started putting together. It's in the development stage right now, so it's not finalized yet, not ready to be released. But I want to show it to my group. And if you're not my group and you just happen to be here, that's okay. I don't mind if you see it. It's just an Excel spreadsheet. But I wanted you guys to be able to see that there's a way to be able to plot your course. So in other words, if you decide you want to make $400 a month because you want to buy yourself a car, you can roadmap it. You can now plan exactly what it takes for you to buy to get that little $400 a month. If you decide you want to make $5,000 a month, you can calculate that. You can figure out what you need to do to be able to do that. So the 2 major ways that you get paid, 3 major ways. One is when you offer the product to someone and they decide to buy it. It doesn't make sense not to try the product for at least 90 days. That doesn't make any sense at all. You don't know anything about whether something works and truly works on you unless you're on it for at least 90 days. Okay, so get a subscription for at least 90 days. The company pays you what is referred to as an all of it bonus. So if they buy 1 bottle of EMF for themselves, and they decide also that their husband needs a bottle of EMF also, so that's two bottles of it. They spend about what, $160, $170. The company gives you the first $150 is yours. If it's a person who simply decides that they think that Dr. Prasad is kind of smart, and they decide to buy the premium bundle, which is about $170, the company gives you the first $150. So you make the first $150 in the commission. Then after that, you make either 10%, 20%, or 30%. No, 10%, 15, 20, 25, 30. I'm just doing some round numbers. I'm skipping a couple steps in between. Delores is at the 30% level. So she's got customers like crazy. So she's at the 30% level on all her customers. She gets 30% commission. That's really amazing to be able to do that. And I won't tell you how she argued with me, how she was not going to do this as a business back when, when I first told her about this. I'm not doing it. I don't have time for this, Jonathan. Don't even do no. Anyway, she's maxed out the compensation plan. 30% she can all her customers right now. But so just remember, you get the all of it bonus. That's the first $150. Then after that, a percentage of everything that your customers purchase. Then set that aside. If one or two of those people decide that they want to do the business, they become part of your team. Now you can build teams. Now your teams, that's a whole different discussion. That's how you reach the different levels that Bernard is talking about. HA1, HA2, HA3, HA4. Okay, that separates the two. It's just a separate thing. Customers is one world. Team building is a separate world. Just if you think of it that way, then you're okay. All right. So I'm going to show you a calculator that I'm putting together for customers, so you can kind of figure out what it is you want to do. And once it's finalized, I'll send a link to it in an email. Okay, so I'll send a link in the email. Actually, you know what? You're only going to be able to access this if you're in the WhatsApp chat. So anybody who decided that they didn't want to be in the WhatsApp chat, you won't get it. So for those who are in the healthcare support WhatsApp chat, those will be the ones who will be able to get this tool. Okay. So how does it work? All the way on the left, you see the month. Can you see that? Let me shut down another window here too, so computer doesn't get bogged down. Shut down some things. So all the way over here under commission, under the word commission, you see the month number 1, number 2, number 3, number 4, number 5, all the way down to month number 26. Can you see that? Okay. The green box to the right is the number of new customers. So if you got 0 customers, you get $0. And I see one problem already, because if you did nothing, you can't make $12. So that's why I said it's not quite ready yet. So it's picking up a little extra money in there that's not 100% done yet. But let me just show you the basic idea behind this. If you get one customer, number 1, right there. Then follow that line all the way to the right. Can I make this zoom a little bit? Follow that line to the right. The all of the bonus is $150. Right there, $150. And that's what you get paid. That's your commission on that, $150. You have a total of 1 customer. And whatever's after that, you get paid on the 10% level. So if this person buys, the pink, by the way, is the collagen. The green column is the probiotic. The orange column is the brain boost. The blue column is the eye boost. So this is assuming that the person bought the premium bundle. Okay, so they bought the premium bundle, so they've already got the collagen, they've already got the brain boost, they've already got a EMF, and they decided they didn't want the eye boost. But you talked them into getting the probiotic. So let's put 1 probiotic in here. Or maybe that's where that $12 was coming from, because I had a 1 in there for the probiotic, but I forgot to take out. Okay. Your commission that month, that week, well, that month is $154. And if you did nothing else, by the end of the year, you'll have made $198 if you do nothing else. So if all you want to do is make yourself $200, then just go sell one premium bundle. But go back to the left. If you do it again the next month, one premium bundle, follow that to the right. You have a customer now who also is going to receive one, the previous customer is going to receive one collagen, also a probiotic, also a brain boost. And let's say you get the person to, they start buying some eye boost also. Someone finally decides that they need to get an eye boost. So you start adding an eye boost into the whole picture. Your commission all the way to the right, again, for that month is $204.58. If you don't do anything else, if you do nothing else, and that person, those two people continue for the rest of the year, you'll make about $804.96. These are approximations. These are just round numbers because we got to go in here and just make sure that all the exact prices are correct. But by the end of the year, if you did one premium bundle every single month for 12 months, just follow the line all the way across. You see the little thing here going across? You have now put yourself in a position to make $472 a month. So just do that for 1 year, just one premium bundle, and you'll make $472 per month. That's your commission. Got it? So by the end of 2 years, if you continue doing that, you basically get yourself up to an annual income of $25,000 if you did it for 2 years. So if you stop right there, your income for that year is $4,000, but just continue on for another year and you will have gotten yourself to where you're making about $25,000 a year. Just plodding along little by little, adding one new customer per month. That's not bad. But let's say you got a big mouth and your name is Bernard, and you say, no, I can do better than one a month. I can do two. So let's go to the Bernard level, and you decide to get on Dean Street. So here's Dean Street. You decide to do two. Let's ride that to the right. And now for that first month, your check is $300. And now if you do that for 2 years, that's $50,000 a year. That's just two premium bundles. Selling two premium bundles every single month for the next 2 years, and you're at $50,000 a year in income. You think customers have value, folks? What if you got a really big mouth and you want to go to 3? Oops, don't do that. Come back over here on this side. And you just sell 3 per month, just 3. Now you're at $75,000 per year. And it all started with slow and easy, just 3 new customers a month. 2 years are going to go by whether you do anything or not, folks. Is this a business opportunity? Any questions?
Beautiful job. Thank you, Jonathan.
Do you get commission?
Thank you, Dan, for your feedback.
Wow.
This should put everything in perspective. Now, mind you, listen carefully now. This starts out, look at the level in the middle, right? This starts out assuming that you're at the 10% level. And then after about a year, you make it to the 20% level in commissions. And then after about another 10 months or so, you make it to the 30% level like Delores. And you max out at the end of being at 30% commission on your customers. So that's assuming that you move through that progression into the program. There's serious money just in collecting customers. And listen, for those of you who are affiliates, focus on customers initially. build yourself a nice, solid customer base, and then teach your affiliates how to get customers. And so we'll be going through lessons on how to just get customers going forward. But this is where the money is. This is the stability in your income. You know, getting business builders, you can get peaks in your income, but your stability is in your customers. Okay? Go ahead, Angelique.
Okay, I got a question on what you just said, because I accidentally got 2 people under me this month. It was by accident. I don't even know how it happened because I was just focusing on customers. So what am I supposed to do now to help them?
Just help. Guide them. If they bring their prospects to presentations on Sundays, Tuesdays, and Thursdays, you're helping them. You guide them that way. Teach them how to get access to videos in the back office. Teach them how to find flyers that they need in the back office. Connect them to, like Bernard said, you're in business for yourself, but not by yourself. Connect them to the support of the whole team. And we have the support because we're here Sundays, Tuesdays, and Thursdays. We have an ambassador in our upline who's available to us, and we'll do VIP presentations. It's support. We can't make money for them, but we can help anybody make money if they want to. You know, it's no different than those birds sitting up there in that nest. You know, if the bird wants food, fly. Do what you do.
Jonathan, quick question.
Please.
On a veteran that's got a different pay program in there, what's our values if we bring veterans in on this scenario? For customers.
If the focus is all on veterans, you can pretty much cut almost all these numbers in half because they're paying 50%. Everything is 50%. So I see veterans as marketing. So that's my lead in. So I don't count the veterans, in my opinion, as money. I count who the veterans can lead me to. That's where the money is. Because the veteran's probably married. The veteran may have children. The veteran has other people who know what their situation is. Now, here's where it is. It's who they can lead you to. So it's a brilliant way of approaching it, but that's not where you're going to get your money. It's on who they can connect you to. Because they've got health problems, and their health problems will likely resolve. If they don't resolve, they will drastically improve. And then other ones will see that. Okay. All right. So that's just a tip on this part of it. And as we have time, we're gonna add in the team building component also. So we'll eventually pile on this so you can see the team building part of it. But in my personal opinion, this is where it all begins. Because if you can narrow this down to the smallest denominator, what is the simplest way to make money? Let's go back to a 0 here. I'm gonna put a 0 in there. Let's get that. I'm gonna take this probiotic out of there and put a 0 in there too, and see if that cleans up the thing. No, that still didn't clear us out. I still got to get that 12 out of there. So I'll find out where that 12 problem is. But if you can get yourself down to the lowest denominator and understand the simplest, most fundamental part of a compensation plan, then you can begin. And this is where it all starts. It all starts with the customers. And it was Dave Nemelka who said that 100 customers is worth about $30,000. And so I kind of scratched my head around that you're saying 100 customers is worth about $30,000. I mean, 300,000, you know, so one customer is worth about 30,000. That's pretty good. That's pretty good. So you can really build a business just centered around just getting customers and make a significant amount of money with it. Okay, so that's the long and the short of it for today. And as soon as we get that finalized, if you're in the WhatsApp chat, then and I'll send out the link so that through the back office for anyone who wants to join that, then you'll be able to get access to these additional tools as well. Delores, question or comment, please?
Well, my comment is that making the money is good, but we have an excellent product. We have an excellent line of products. So we're not just offering something to people, we're giving people what they actually need. So the first thing you have to do, you have to be a product of your product, and you got to be familiar with your product. You got to know, we're not going to know everything about it, but we need to know enough where we can be able to help people to appreciate why this product is beneficial. And everybody need it, they just don't know it. So it's up to us to help them to see that they need it.
Very good. Very good. Now, mind you, now listen to who just said that now. She's maxed out the compensation plan on customers. That's a diamond affiliate, diamond level affiliate for the customer part of the comp plan. So be a product of the product. Make sure that you're using it, have a story to tell. And folks believe you when they see that you benefited from it. And Angelique, if you just briefly tell us again, you said you accidentally, got customer. It wasn't an accident. What happened when you was out there playing football?
Oh, so I was playing football with a teenager.
So wait a minute. So you're in your 30s playing football, right?
No, I'm up there. I'm past you.
You're in your 40s playing football.
Falling in the sand, getting up, still running.
You're in your 50s out there playing football. So you're past me. So now I hit 60. So okay. So you passed me, and you out there playing touch football. So tell us what happened here.
So some of the ones that were observing were like, "How come she can still get up? If I fell, I would be down for the count." I fell about 3 times and got back up and was still trying to run. And I can't even play football. I don't even know the game that well. But yeah, I was fine. And they were like the next day, "How are you doing?" I'm like, "I'm fine." So yeah, I said micro daily.
Are you still trying to figure out how you got the customers, huh? Yeah.
Well, one thing that encouraged me was Nicholas. Because he fought me so hard on this. No, I don't want to do it. No, I don't have no money. No. And then I see his face and I'm like, okay, that means no does not mean no. It means
not right now.
Yes.
That's all it is. That's all it is. Very good. Thank you. So just share your story. And a lot of times, listen, the key to this also, folks, is figuring out what the person's hot button is. See, that's the key. You got to figure out what their hot button is. For some people, their hot button is gold bullion. For some people, their hot button is spending more time with their family. For some people, like Bernard, he got tired of drinking Kool-Aid when other people drinking champagne. He didn't like seeing a lifestyle of rich and famous and being left out. Hot button. For other people, there's a health issue with them or someone else. Once you figure out what that hot button is, push that. You push that button, and that's how you can bring folks along. Nicholas, go ahead. Give you a chance to defend yourself here.
There's a defense. It's my dog. Just saying exactly what you just said. When you find out what people need and you care enough about them, it automatically just starts working for you. An incident that happened with us, I got our product a week and a half ago. Started taking the product over the weekend. All of a sudden, I'm feeling better because I'm diabetic. I have all these aches and pains, and I work for UPS, so I'm always sore. I get up on Monday to go to work without my alarm clock. I wake up at 3 o'clock in the morning. I get up without it, and I'm trying to figure out, oh boy, I accidentally popped up out of the bed.
Originally.
Yeah, I normally can't do that. And then I get up and start getting dressed and go to work and didn't even realize I was not in the amount of pain that I've been suffering for the last 10 years. But my wife did something. She started taking it. She all of a sudden says to me, oh, she was reading something to me after she had took her contact lenses out. She's reading something. She's never been able to do that before. And this is after 3 days of taking this product. Then after that, she says, hey, you know, my mother-in-law has not called us, but she had given the product to her. My mother-in-law is about 70. She gets up that day and does everything she wanted to and forgot to call us with the results of how she was feeling. She says, whatever this is, just sign me up. No more questions. So that was the part that really shocked me and started getting me motivated. Then I'm like, I have all these people that tell me about their aches, their pains, their dislocated everything, people who have fibromyalgia. And I'm like, I just started calculating. And Dan suggested that I start writing these people's names down with their symptoms and then going to them with the product. And I just simply mentioned the idea of it. And they are so excited because they care about either the people that's going through it or either they need it for themselves. I just started getting more sales this week. So I have potentially 8 people that I can talk to just in less than a week.
I'm just speechless. That's all I can say. I'm just speechless. Nicholas, that tells the whole story. You got Angelique. She's curled up in the fetal position and about to cry.
No, wait a minute. Wait. I gotta tell you one more. So there's a lady I know. I just mentioned the product to her and she said, I'm gonna order it tomorrow because it was too late to order it. She said, I'm ordering it tomorrow. Now, in the meantime, she ordered it and then she ended up with COVID in the hospital. She just got out of the hospital Saturday and I said, your product's there, right? She said, yeah. I said, take it right now. She said, my daughters told me not to take it because it's not from the doctor. I said, it's a vitamin, it's micronutrients. You haven't even been eating. So she took it. And I texted her today. She said, I feel better already. And they told her she has long haul COVID along with cancer.
Wow.
So she texted me, she says, I've already taken 3 more.
Wow. Good timing. You're going to hit a nerve. Make sure she's here next week when we talk to Prasad about it. So that'll be a perfect time for her. Touche. Way to go, Angelique. Bernard got the comment. Go ahead, chime in, Bernard.
Let me, somebody asked earlier, well, what do I do? I just brought that person on. And I think right now you got 42 people on. These 42 people, Jonathan, are serious about their business. I don't care what program you've been in before, all of your failures, all of your shortcomings, all your frustrations, everything that you've done has brought you to this moment. This is your moment. The people that you're seeing, they're on my team. They just happen to be on my team, but they're having their own meetings with their people. I'm teaching my people to teach their people. On these calls, we usually take them to the back office and show them how they get paid and everything. You have to become a leader for your people. And you mentioned something earlier, Jonathan. I'd just like to enhance this. People, in order for you to be successful in your business, you have to have a strong enough why. And they say your why will make you cry or your why will make you die. Now, why is that important? Because you're going to have peaks and valleys in building your company. For those of you that are on here, I love the people that are on here, Jonathan. I always look and see how many people stay, because those people that stay got a purpose. And anybody on here got a job? Whenever it's raining, do you look out and say, it's raining today, I ain't gonna go on my job? Anybody do that? At the end of the month, you don't go on your job, guess what? You're not gonna get paid. Now, your mindset is what's gonna make a difference. See, a person that's in sales, the mindset, some salesmen look out the window and say, you know what? It's raining today. I'm not gonna go out and make sales because you know, I'm gonna wait until a good sunny day. Now, that's his mindset. It's raining. The day is bad. Then there's another salesman look out and say, wow, it's raining today. Hey, help me get my food ready. I got to get out there today and do these sales because I know ain't nobody else gonna be out there. So this is my opportunity to build my business. That's what you have to look at in this business. Don't look at the people that's competition. We ain't got no competition. Nobody else that got a product that the military and NASA and firefighters and all been using, and people calling you up saying, oh, thank you so much for these products. I ain't got nobody doing that. I got some people calling me up saying, how do I get my money back? That was on the other products. This is the first time that we got a company that actually delivers more than it promised. More than it promised. If you want to be successful, make it to the meetings. Tap your people into the meetings. Make sure that you go in your back office and learn how you're being paid. One of the most embarrassing things in the world is to have somebody that you talk to and they know more about the business than you do, and you've been in the business for 6 months or a year. The information is available to everybody. Form your team, get your most enthusiastic people, go back in there during the week. That's what my team does. My team goes back in there and we meet at least twice a week besides all this. And then we go through that office and we make it work. By the way, Nicholas is passing by me now, me and Dan. And that's what I want. I don't want you to be good as me. I want you to be better than me. I don't want you to be the Freedom One. I'm planning on being Freedom One probably by December or whatever, maybe more. I don't want you to be a Freedom One. I want you to be an ambassador. I want you to pass by me. So that's the mentality you have to have. Get out of that pitiful, that pity party that everybody you're gonna run into. If people say no, guess what? Okay, great. Hey, thank you for letting me know because I'm looking for somebody else. So anyway, Jonathan, I wanted to throw that out there because in my opinion, I'm looking at people on here, I'm enthused by certain people. I'm looking at Bill Brady. I see him a lot. I see Greg a lot. I see Mamie a lot. I see Rob a lot. All you guys, Dan, I see you guys on here. Guys, I'm gonna tell y'all something. Y'all are my inspiration. Why? Because I don't want to be left behind when I see y'all laying up there with your beach. I want to be right next to you. That's what I want to do. Thank you, my mom.
Absolutely. Thank you, Bernard. And it's so true. Those words are extremely motivational and powerful. And the key to it all, folks, is finding what people need. And I guarantee you, Delores said it earlier, there's only two kinds of people, those who are sick and those who don't know that they're sick yet. If you get them to put it in their mouth, they're going to feel something. They will know something. Look what happened to Nick. He was no, until he got out of bed one morning and then realized, wait a minute, where's my cane? I didn't feel that, ooh, gotcha, none of that. So I literally have sent people a whole bottle. Forget the samples. I mean, the samples are good because some people get real good results with just samples, but I've sent people entire bottles just to get their attention so that they really get some results. And sometimes that makes all the difference in the world. Invest in your business, folks. Invest in your business. Dan's got a comment here. Go ahead, Dan. Let's bring you on.
One of the things, Nick and I have been good friends for 25 years. And once I got his attention, I called him probably every other day, just see how he was doing. What do you want to do with your life? What do you want to do with your life? He's going to retire in 2 years. Okay, that's fine. But I kept working with him, talking with him. It's a slow burner, but guess what? He's going to be a bombshell over here. Already is. Look at that sign behind him. He's got his wife behind him, his mother-in-law, 3 kids, and we're ready to get this Challenger up in the air, and it's not going to blow up this time.
That's right. He's going nuclear, buddy. He's going nuclear, Dan, and I would say that you guys are onto something. You guys are definitely onto something. Thank you very much for sharing that. Go ahead, Herb. Don't forget to unmute, Herbert.
Okay, Jonathan, can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
I come on and I keep my enthusiasm up by these presentations and the feedback I get. And I'm sitting here, I'm all excited and laughing about, what's being told. And all of a sudden I realized, I said, I got to share this. There's one young lady that, I had given her my cards. I give out cards and she would ask me all these questions, but she kept making this broad statement about how careful she is about what she puts in her mouth, and I'm not a pushy person, but I invited her to, go on my site, kick the tires, run your hand across the surface of the car, whatever. And finally, she decided she wanted to try. And I could tell that she didn't really examine my site. She said, I want to try your brain boost. And I'm listening to her, the reason why. She said, I think she had COVID and she had brain fog. Mm-hmm. Now, when people said that, I'm like, what is that? If you haven't had it, I don't think you can ever really identify with it, but it's a pretty good descriptive term. So I'm listening to her. And I told her, I said, I can't really say, I don't want to put my foot in my mouth. I said, but our base product, the Micro Daily, is like a foundational product, and other things are like adjuncts. I said, but if you just take the Brain Boost by itself, I'm not sure, what the results is going to be. Of course, I've got Alfreda, so I can find out anything, but I'm telling her this because I want her to, take a look at our packages, or buy a bundle of some sort, if you create yourself. Well, anyway, she decided, she was adamant, I'm gonna just buy this Brain Boost. Jonathan, she called. I saw her. I went to shoot pool and I saw her and she ran up to me. Now I'm sitting there with about 8 people and she's telling them, look, if Rainey talking to you about his products, just trust him and go ahead and get it. And I'm looking at her like, what is going on? She said, Rainey, I got my Brain Boost and I took it as soon as I got it. She said, I took 1 pill. And I'm looking at her like, what are you getting ready to tell me? She said, not a half an hour. She said, not in half an hour. I felt the fog rise off my brain.
Wow.
And everybody looking at her like, what are you talking about? She said, it just lifted. It was gone. And I'm standing there like, I just got a free ad. Unsolicited, I got a free ad. Everybody's looking at me like, what is she talking about, Randy? So of course I go into my spill, but I want, just as a reminder to people, go on your site and just absorb information, because you'd be surprised how good you're going to be at, my excitement carries me. I'm not trying to do anything pre-rehearsed or whatever, but my excitement carries me. And the fact that I'm now like really digesting the information that Engage Global give us. Yeah, I'm able to talk, I'm able to talk freelance about our products, our company, Dr. Prasad, the whole 9 yards. And this is, and my enthusiasm carries me much further than any kind of prescribed, speech that I could possibly make. You got to know your product. You got to know, and people are impressed. When I started talking about Dr. Prasad, just like the rest of you guys, I'm just blown away by the man, Right. So when I started talking about him, I talk about the armed forces and, where inception. And I just can't stop. And I have to catch myself. Sometimes I feel like I'm overselling. I have to catch myself. But I'm telling you, that's the manner in which you're able to not be intimidated by other people, the manner in which you're able to promote your products with the enthusiasm that just captivate people. But I have it's been my experience that I share my customers' results
Right.
more so than my own. I mean, I'm 71, proud of it, and I feel great. I feel like I'm in my 30s. You know, I'm pre-planned workouts, you know, all the time, and you
Life
know,
has changed.
I'm bubbly.
Life
Excuse
has
me?
changed. Life has
Oh,
changed.
most definitely. And you know, this is my second effort at Microdale. I kind of, you know, I had morphed into the position of just making just enough money to offset the cost of my own personal products. But I got fortunate enough to have Rob Martin join my team, and
Yeah.
now you know I'm doing a rebirth. You know, my enthusiasm is through the roof. I am not going to stand back and just watch my
No.
team grow past me. You know, I'm going to
We
stay in
don't
a
have to.
leadership position.
We don't have to.
Right.
Because now we have tools that are available to us, and we can make a difference in people's lives. But what you just said resonates, Rainey, because someone said earlier, when you become a product of the product, it comes out of you. You know, it comes out of you loud and clear, and people hear it, and they know that you believe what you're saying, and it's not just a joke. So, thank you very much for sharing your story, Herb.
Thank you.
And one more comment out of Bertha. And
Hi, thank you. I wanted to share, I was at a wedding over the weekend with people I didn't know, and we were at this little after group in a hotel room. And of course, people asked, what do you do? And that was my opportunity to share about Micro Daily. And so I was telling my testimonies of different things that had happened with me and going over how the products work and the usage. And so I said, okay, I've talked enough. I need to get this product in someone. And I looked to see who looked like they may have issues.
right.
And I sat next to this girl and I said, and mind you, this is my first time meeting these people. And I'm thinking, oh Lord, I don't know if this girl will let me put this product in her mouth. So because I tell them this is the way I take it, I open the capsules and I put it on your tongue subliminal, like a nitroglycerin tablet. So it goes straight into the bloodstream. And I said, look, what issues do you have? She said, well, I have rheumatoid arthritis in my hand. It hurts all the time. Okay. I said, well, let's get these products. I said, I'm going to show you how I take them. I'm going to put them underneath your tongue and you let it sit. And I just chase it with a little water, you know, until we get it all in. And she looked at me. She held her tongue up. I put 3 capsules, opened the capsules, poured it underneath her tongue. And she was like, oh my God. And she swallowed. And I said, here, take some water, swallow it down. Then I went to the brain boost, and then I went to the eye boost. And then I said, well, the collagen, I said, this is a real good one. That's going to really, it's good for your skin, your hair, and nails. And I said, I'm going to pour this capsule. It's going to get a little pasty in your mouth. And we're just going to, you know, break it down with the water and swallow it. And everybody's like sitting there watching. And it was 2 other ladies in there that I knew that wasn't really paying attention and care about what I was doing. So I didn't let that bother me. I said, if I can get this in here, something has got to happen. And so she swallowed down, choking and everything. So
out a funnel and sticks a funnel in the woman's mouth and she pouring it.
yeah. And so, because I said I'm going to be with them a few minutes, and I'll never see him again. So I got to make this work.
I need some results.
Yeah, I need some results. That's basically what I was doing. And I kid you not. So I'm sitting there and I'm looking at her because her eyes, she had these red eyes. I didn't know what was wrong with her eyes. I didn't want to, make a comment.
Her eyes are rolling back in her head. She's going to a coma.
So anyway, and after she took the last one, I said, wait a minute, let me take a picture of your face, because I always, seeing is believing. So I said, look at me. And I took a close-up shot of her face. And I said, we're going to wait to see. And she drank the water. I said, drink some more water. And I'm sitting there, everybody's staring at her, right? And all of a sudden she looked and she goes, oh my God, I can see. And so her husband looked at her. He said, what? And she took her phone and read on the phone without glasses. She started reading, and everybody was looking to say, "Yeah, that's what it says." And then I looked at her. I said, "Oh my God, your eyes are clearing up." She said, "Yeah." She said they were was it cloggy or
Audrey?
she said cloudy? Yeah. She said, "I have cataracts on my eyes, and that's what keeps me from seeing." She said, "Seem like is the veil has come off my eyes. That's why I can read this." She said, "I couldn't read it before." I was like, "Oh my God." So when she said that, the other two people that weren't paying attention turned and looked, and the girl goes, "I want some of that." So I said, "Okay." So the bride, it was a wedding. So the bride said, "Oh my goodness." And I said, "Well, she said it. I didn't. She, this is her testimony." And so when we were leaving, the girl that said, "I want some of that," she said, "I followed her to her hotel room and I did the same thing to her because she could not walk. She was limping to the room. And the next morning I was coming out of my hotel room and I see this girl. I said, I look like the same girl that I was with last night, but she's walking kind of fast. And I got it close and it was her. And I said, "Oh my God." I said, "You're walking good." She said, "Yeah, girl, those products work." She said, and then I was in Georgia. She said, "I'm coming to Orlando," because I live in Florida. She said, "I'm coming to Orlando Tuesday." She said, "I'm going to call you." And she said, "I want to get together or get on these products." And this one girl, she was really the one I wanted because the one that I'm meeting with, she's 30 years retired in the Navy. And she lived in Italy for over 20 years. She speaks fluent Italian. So I said, I cannot wait to get her on these products because she knows a lot of people. And then people have seen her. And then the other lady, her husband, the one that I gave the products to, they have a financial problem, but I'll get back to her later. But her husband went in the hospital because I didn't even know her husband had pancreatic issues, and he's in the hospital right now. So I'm just I'll get back with them later, but I just want to see what she want to do. But that's how I do
Incredible. That's incredible.
Yeah. I thought I wasn't there.
If anybody had asked me if that technique was going to work, I would say El Loco. But hey, it clearly absolutely worked. But it speaks to exactly what I said. Get it in the bodies. Get it in their body. It will get their attention, no question about it. And Alex did that. Alex, when Bernard put Alex Holcomb on the phone, and Alex said, "I want to try the brain boost." And I said the same thing. I said, "What is one brain boost going to do?" Oh, the man said he want brain boost. I told Joanna to grab the brain boost and just go ahead. She FedExed him a bottle of brain boost. The next day, the man's brain was completely clear. And that was it. He was done from that point on. Just like I think it was, who was it that said it? They went to their website and bought that the brain boost. So anyway, thank you very much, Bertha, for sharing that story. It is true. It can happen. Go ahead, Dan. You got the last word. We're getting ready to wrap up.
Just on being a product of the product, there's a very, very old passage that confirms that. It says, "Love your neighbor as yourself." So if you don't love yourself, you can't love your neighbor. So take care of body number one before you go on to body number two.
Amen on that one. I 100% agree with that. Thank you very much for your input, and thank everybody for your input. It's been a real pleasure. This has been a very enjoyable business meeting. I hope you got something out of it that you can go forward with. So just go forward, think forward movement, realizing that there's reward in helping customers. Help people resolve their issues. You'll get what you need. You'll get everything that you want out of this if you just help people resolve their issue. Focus on them, and it'll come back. It'll come back tenfold. I can guarantee you that one. Okay, folks, y'all take good care. Thank you very much. We'll see you on Tuesday night, 7 o'clock, 765. That's our numbers, right? 765, Tuesday, Thursday, Sunday, 765, all Eastern Standard Time. Have a good night, everybody.
Thank you, Jonathan. Wonderful meeting.
Jonathan, thank you.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you, everybody.
Good night, everyone.
Everybody.
Night.
Have a good evening.
Good night. Thanks, Jonathan.
Thank you.